Welcome. This is the Simply King podcast. This is your boy Rodney Perry, King himself, and you just tuned into the Soulfully Conscious podcast for humans, simply being humans. And today, I have a very special guest here with me. My first guest of the year. I would love to, give you that, acknowledgement.
That title,
Yes. The first of 2022, recording in studio as well.
Pew, pew, pew.
All that, But I have here with me the incomparable, very beautifully named person too. Like, I love your name.
Okay.
The whole thing,
Okay.
I have here with me poet, writer, activist, scholar, educator, Grammy submitted album maker, true Chicagoan.
Absolutely.
She don't eat wings though.
Nah, I don't.
Get her. I have here with me Kwyn Townsend Riley.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Rodney. It's been a long time.
Long time? What you mean?
You had this podcast for so long. I've known you for how long?
2020.
It's been 2 years.
But you see when we met? We met in the year the world ended.
I know.
Do you know how many people I met at that thing that I dead ass gotta make a note of myself? Like, I gotta figure out where I put that number.
Really?
Because there's definitely some people I connected with. Was like, yeah, I would love to have you on my
following
pod.
next week. Damn.
But I'm gonna hit you up in 2 weeks in the world. It was February. It was the end of February.
It was.
Literally 2 weeks later in March.
Shout out to Gumbo Magazine.
Yeah, shout out to Gumbo Magazine. Yes, shout out to Gumbo Magazine. That's a damn.
That was a great event.
It was a great event, and it felt like the beginning of something for me. For me, I don't know about everybody else, but I felt honored. You know what I'm saying, to be in the mix. I was fresh off of literally releasing all the episodes that I did with the whole team.
Okay.
Because I basically interviewed everyone. Just kind of split everybody up into pairs. And interviewed everybody on the team who worked on the magazine, and so it was cool. You know what I'm saying? I felt really like a full circle moment. You know what I'm saying?
Like a family.
Yeah, But yes, that is exactly where I met you. Doing an amazing poem, and your hair was big as hell too. I remember that. Yeah,
it was a little fro.
Yeah.
I wanted to, I don't know, people don't really show 4C styles really being 4C, where it's no, it doesn't make sense, and we're just about to make something, what's the word I was going to say? Architectural with our hair. You know how the Easter egg does it, where it's kind of ooh, it's going to be braids, and it's going to be half braid, half fro.
I like that.
I was that's what I want. I don't want my shit to make sense. Because the poem, I think it's supposed to be, something that was really, really black.
Yeah.
No, being black is lit. That's what it was. And I was like, oh yeah, I want to be black as fuck. So yeah.
You were black too.
Oh, can I curse?
Yes.
Okay.
You were black too.
Yeah, I did. A black turtlenecks all the way.
That's a.
I wear black turtlenecks.
That's a.
It's a whole thing.
I ain't want to be the one to be like, is that a thing? You know what I'm saying?
I feel most poetic when I am wearing a black turtleneck. I changed my outfit twice today. At first I was going to wear a green turtleneck, and I
appreciate the thought.
And yellow. And then black.
I appreciate the consideration.
Whatever.
I do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, put on your good shit coming here. I like that,
And black,
know? Really, I'm a jewelry person. So if you just come with good jewelry, then I know you care about me.
I do see your hand-wired ring.
Yeah, all of them, A lot of things.
You should look at Fashion Nova.
I feel that.
And Shein has lots of these kits too.
Shein?
You know Shein?
That's how you say that? I've been saying Shein.
You so southern. You don't have to enunciate.
What you mean?
Shein.
Look, you did say we southern. So, we over here draw the things out. So we see words and we see a few extra ones.
They got nice jewelry. I think you would like their stuff, honestly.
Shein?
Yeah.
Shein.
I say Shein because I don't know why I pronounce the N.
Like spray? Like Sheen? That's how you pronounce it?
What's another word that has EIN at the end?
But don't you pronounce Sheen as in Sheen spray? SHEEN?
You right.
Don't you? It's pronounced the same way, right?
That's what I have been calling it. I haven't heard anybody else.
I mean, look, you the educator, so I'm a you educator. You've been writing, you know what I'm saying? So I know your grammar you probably got Grammarly in your mind.
No, I do have Grammarly on my computer. I love Grammarly.
Me too.
Okay.
It's everywhere.
It's been saving the email.
My tweets been fire. Grammatically correct. Yeah, I've been fucking them up with those. Changed my life, but no, I've been bullshitting enough. I really appreciate. I'm having a good time. I'm back in the studio. It's been a minute, you know. Since I had a guest on. Yeah, I literally didn't have a guest on almost all of December.
Place is so nice.
Thank you. Tell people that they don't know.
No, it's very nice.
They see I feel like people see my space in like pieces.
No, it's true. I wasn't. Now that I see the full picture, it's very cute.
Thank you.
Wow, there's the apple tree. This is the little gate, and then we come down here, the essential yellow background. It's like wow.
I gotta make sure you taste something before you go.
Yeah. Oh, you still have it?
I got some left. I got one jar left, and I got a few spoonfuls.
I don't know. I gotta get on your calendar, so maybe we gotta schedule a jam tasting.
Thank you all for watching the Simply King podcast. Make sure you like, rate, and subscribe. And also share it if you're enjoying it. But I wanted to tell you all about why my YouTube page is called Life is King. Life is King is actually the name of my creative production company as well as my digital marketing company. And I want to let you know that I am here to be of service to you. I can provide the same things that I do for myself to create content for your business. I service content creators, small business owners, as well as just singular or, team of entrepreneurs. I know it's hard to keep up with social media, so I can help you with that content. You may just need some help and assistance and consultation on getting that idea out of your mind and into the real world. So check me out at lifeisking.com. You can send me an email at create@lifeisking.com so to get the conversation started.
I know you're busy, so yes.
So Kwyn Riley is here with us. But no, so first off, I did say that you are from Chicago. What side of Chicago are you from?
I grew up on South Shore, moved to Auburn Gresham, and now my mom and them live in Roseland.
I feel that. So what has Chicago done to your overall kind of artistic influence? Do you think it contributed a lot into your direction, all of the history, all the things? Oh, Ma. I'm going to call you back, Ma.
Is it dangerous? Are you okay?
No, I'm fine. Yes, fine.
I love that she called you.
Yeah, she's good like that. We're going to continue. I'm going to text him. I know it's nothing wrong.
Okay, so in terms of what does Chicago do for my artistic influence? Well, first of all, Chicago is so like artistic, like between everything, between dancing, between singing, theater is really, really huge. And I was first introduced into poetry just even being like something competitive, because you always hear about dance competitions and like singing competitions and theater competitions. But I heard about the first poetry competition, La Donna Bomb, being here in Chicago. When we went on a high school field trip to go see the documentary with Nate Marshall. And I forget his name, but the white guy with the ponytail, he's gonna be so mad at me that I didn't get his name. But I love you. Thank you for featuring me at your open mic. I think that was Joffrey. But I was so.
How old were you?
I had to be like 15, 16.
Oh, that's fly.
And seeing all these other high school kids like have adults just like tell them write what you want to write. Yeah. Like, this is something that can be molded and like something that can be designed and like technical. Yeah. I was like, oh shit, like.
That's crazy. A white man affirmed me first. Yeah. On my writing.
Really?
Dead ass. It was a world literature class.
Shout out to all the literature teachers.
It was a world literature class, and we had to do some like creative writing about we just had to approach our report or analysis of some story. Just in a different way. He just wanted us to like do something different. He didn't want it to be just a regular like this is what happened in the story, this is the comprehension, da-da-da. And I think it was Gilgamesh. I think that was what it was. Mm-hmm. And I did it whatever way I was like, all right, I think I understand. Wrote it. It was like, I really enjoy the way like just the note he gave me. I was like, hey, I didn't know. I didn't know. Yeah. So it took me a long time to admit that I was a writer.
Yeah.
A long time.
Because there's such this high academic definition of like what it is to be a writer, what it is to be the artist, where really it's so self-defining. Yeah. And I think at that age, even like leading up to them, my mom had all of me and my siblings like in oratory competitions. I was like, involved in the church dance ministry. So I've always been like an artsy type of kid.
Oh, you was doing a liturgical?
He had the little, skirt and stuff in the choir.
Yeah. People.
But we get up.
Yeah, I love that. I feel that.
Not that song, but
that's the one. That's the easiest one to kind of do your liturgical tune. Dove it up,
Drill, all that. My mom is a singer, and my dad was a heavy movie enthusiast, but an IT guy. And so I think they just really poured lots of arts into us, but never really much so as a career. They were just like, oh yeah, go do it, but like, be a lawyer. They were still on that. They enjoyed it, I should say. When my sister wanted to become a doctor, and this is going off tangent, when my sister originally wanted to be a doctor, my mom was so like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have my first doctor, because who doesn't want their first doctor? Yeah. And I was like, I want to be a travel agent. And they're like, just more time. You should think about it a little bit more. So then I was like, oh, I want to be Oprah. And they're like, okay, I guess journalism, sure.
Yeah.
But, works out.
You're studying, you're in school now, right?
Get my Master's of Science in Higher Education.
What you want to do with that?
I want to go into, this is a larger conversation for neoliberalism and higher ed, but I do want to go into diversity and multiculturalism. Simply to really uplift the idea of intersectionality and also the importance of making a campus a safe space. You know how they'll be like, oh, this is your safe space on campus, this 1 4x4 building. And it's like, no, the campus should be like a safe space. And attending a historically white institution, UD is really where I was given that opportunity to get paid for my poetry.
That's Dayton, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Up until then, I was still really concealing my poetry because I was like, I'm not good enough as Nate Marshall. I'm not good enough as Kwyn Townsend. I'm not good enough as, Gwendolyn Brooks, And so I was like, yeah, this is just something on the side. But Dayton is where I met, metaphorically speaking, and they had these big shows in these bars, and me just turned 21, I'm wearing heels, for the first time, and I'm like, okay, I guess I can, do a poem, and I did a poem. The whole crowd loved it, and I was like, wow, and I got paid, that night, and I was like, Mom, I'm making money from doing poetry, and she's like, oh, okay, and it just went up from there. So I think college in itself is such a fun place to be at that I want to go back into, to really just, inspire and develop other youth around that age, because it's such a forming age.
It is. There's a page that you attach to your bio, Underrepped, right? And is that an organization that's part of the university that you're connected to now, or one that you used to be connected to?
I would say the one that I used to be connected to. That's where I created it with my 2 best friends, who are still my best friends. Well, one of them was my ex, but it's all love. It was a great 4 years.
I get what you mean, though.
And me and Tiara, we wanted a space, not even a space, a collective for those who graduate from historically white institutions. Because you graduate from HBCU. There's lots of HBCU pride, HBCU buzz, HBCU student. Yeah. There isn't PWI student. There isn't PWI buzz. There isn't none of that. And so that's what I want to do.
I'm gonna tell you, I appreciate y'all for doing that. I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Because it's the most constructive things I ever heard from a group of black people who want to speak to black representation at their campus. Because it's always every damn year I'm arguing with somebody on Twitter about how their experience was basically the same as mine, because they just had such a strong black community at the school, the university they went to, and I'm like, my guy, it ain't though.
Right? No, it wasn't.
You went to Miss U, my guy. You know what I'm saying? I could go down the street and somebody auntie would feed me. Down the street from school.
Yeah, no.
You can't go down the street. I get my hair done down the street from school. Now, honestly, it is the cheat code. They go to school in Atlanta, so it's really easy. But nevertheless, every school pretty much is like that.
Yes, every HBCU.
So it's kind of my God, that's not what you talk about. That's not what needs to be talked about, because it's you're ignoring the bigger issue. You're ignoring the fact that there are, there are some people who it's okay if you do feel uncomfortable that you're more excited for the black graduation than you are the general one.
And that's what I was gonna say. I feel like in historically white institutions, our space always has to be shared.
Yeah.
And I feel like at HBCU, it's like no, it really we can be as selfish as we want.
Yeah.
So it's like ours. But you know, there's some white people attend HBCUs. I don't understand that.
Because it's the reverse. They get scholarships and shit like that too. Mm-hmm. Minority scholarships.
We know some HBCUs were founded by white people.
A bunch of them, most of them, you know. So it is what it is, you know.
It's this
the number one one. If y'all didn't know, no shade.
No
shade.
shade.
The number one, white people. Look at who Spellman really is.
Okay.
You know.
I didn't even know all that.
That's some old white money right there. But I digress. I appreciate you for doing that. You and Tiara and Aaron. I appreciate y'all because I do think that's the most constructive way to talk about it. Like create community. And let's talk about our experience here. Fuck what everybody else is going through because it's not truly that comparable. Like, because you can get past that part when you're at HBCU. It's where it starts to get more nuanced. Like the organizations and shit like that. You don't have to have a black-centered organization where that's even something that you can talk about because we can break down to different.
I don't even know if you had to really like investigate to find places where you felt like your identity was celebrated, like on your campus.
Hell nah.
So I feel like even with the undergrad, we created a map, a nationwide map where you can click on different institutions and they list their racial demographics. Yeah. But it's also like if they have Greek life, if there is a barbershop nearby, because all that type of stuff you're not gonna find. You know, when you just search up University Day and you know like student life statistics, they're not catered to black students. Yeah. So we wanted something that was catered for a black prospective student as well as a current student to be able to say like, oh, so UD does have Greek life. Okay, let me go talk to this person like here, and then they can read a blog or like then they can read a featured student month, whatever month of the student of the month. Yeah,
I feel that. I like that.
No, thank you. Follow it.
But no, let's tap into the work.
Okay, the work.
The work, you know. So one thing that I spoke to you about in our pre-interview was the kind of the trend that you used with your published work being and she. And I told you that it feels like this kind of like self-immortalizing practice almost. Like, you know, very, very much like I'm never ending. You know, this it's always to be continued, which feels kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? Because you can think of so many different, you know, great authors and great poets and just great writers in general, and you really can kind of cap their things into these boxes of when they came, some of the, you know, their peak works and then the fall off type of thing. Yeah. But to kind of, you know, come in and make it eternal, that's what kind of feels like you're doing. But please tell me, what is it that made you kind of keep that kind of thing going? Because
so I do love a good trilogy. I'm a huge sucker for patterns and like repetition of stuff, and I appreciate just sequels of books, like, you know, Sister Soldier having all these different like spin-offs about, you know, Midnight having his own story and everything else like that. And so even when I wrote my first one, I didn't ideally picture me writing a second one, but I knew I always wanted to pay homage to like my beginning. Because I was just like, oh, okay, and she wrote, and she will, and she whether to kind of remind myself like, oh yeah, gee, this isn't your first time. I know it's hard, but you did this already. Or like, okay, this isn't like your second time. You've done this before. And also just reminding people that like, if you didn't like my first book, you may like my second. If you didn't like that one, you may like the album. And if you don't like that one, then there'll be something else more and more to kind of just show like my own writer's evolution too.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, your own little Matrix story. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Just trilogies. You feel me? Well, now it's a fourth, and it's a fourth movie now. Did you watch that?
No, I haven't yet.
You went to the Matrix?
I remember watching them originally with my father, but I think I really need to do my work and watch them all over again before I watch the fourth because I don't remember.
I gotta go back to the old ones because somebody told me but it was a Chicagoan that told me this. And you know everything. You can't believe everything a Chicagoan says to you. Okay. Because everything's about Chicago.
It's not true.
It is.
It's not. I don't like your analysis of my city.
No. I have a great analysis of the city. I'll give it to you later off camera because I'm writing something about it. So
okay, cute.
Yeah, I'm trying to submit something about it.
I think that will be a really good perspective for you.
Yeah, it's very
pandemic.
And it's very healthy too. It's not just from the standpoint of like oh, these are things that's wrong. It's like truly the most constructive thing that I ever wrote about Chicago. But no, he was saying how like they were in Chicago. In the
they
Matrix.
filmed The Matrix in Chicago.
No, like in the actual story. Like they like talk about like when they talk about like hey, get to when they are on the phone in the like original 3, they're saying shit like get to state and side. I was like, I mean it's state like I'm with you. Like it made sense with Batman because the motherfucker literally said Cicero. Yeah. I don't know if everybody got a Cicero, but a state.
That's true. Somebody could have those.
A lot of people might have state streets. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. But shout out to you, Neo. Talk to you tomorrow. He won't even see this. He's truly not into my show. But no, because we have a whole other show together.
Oh, is it the guy that said that hip hop is not a sound, but like not a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said it's piracy.
See, I be watching your shit.
I see. I appreciate that.
What the?
My heart is warm.
Is it?
It is.
Or is it the hot toddy?
Both. But no. So, why did you decide to submit this one, this album, particularly for the Grammys?
Brandon Alexander Williams, he's a poet. I don't know if you've seen him. He's a black guy. He put all the flowers like in his beard.
Damn, he was the first.
The first guy that I've seen do it.
Because I was like, I've seen that. I'm not sure if I've seen
he started
him.
it off. I feel like I want to give him credit for that, but that's like his aesthetic. That's
great
his
name,
though. Brandon Alexander Williams,
yeah.
And so he reached out over the summer and he was like, oh, I'm doing like, this convening of griots to talk about this year's Grammys. And I'm like, okay, like what? And I'm already intimidated. I'm like in a room full of other poets to talk about Grammys. Okay. And it's like, people like K-Love. It's people like Harold Green. You got, other people that I also know personally just in this room. And like Brandon's telling us like, hey, so they have a spoken word category. We need to submit for it because I am tired of people doing audiobooks winning this category. And perhaps if we get 100 griots to submit, then maybe, the Recording Academy will take us seriously. And then he had this other guy by the name of Blue Ivy, or not Blue Ivy, I think Blue Ivy, J Ivy.
Happy birthday, Blue Ivy.
Happy birthday, Blue Ivy. J Ivy, who was the second, because I think Maya Angelou won first, but he is our second Grammy Award winning actual poet. And he also, I think, is like the chair of the Chicago chapter of the Recording Academy now. And he was talking about what the process is, what he did, and everything else like that. And I'm sitting there like, okay, can I do this? Like, I'm in Atlanta, I'm my housing internship, and I'm just listening like, okay, can I get in the studio? Can I really make an album within 2 months? And I'm like, I think I can. I think I can. And so I didn't come up with the title like really till, like later on, but to help me make it easier, I use poems I already know. So Black Girl Magic, 4 Things Feminist, the only new poems that are on there is And She Worthy for Ashley. I think so, only 2. Everything else have been like either just performed already or like something that's just been like, in my poetry journal. That I just never really included. And so this was an opportunity for those poems to live, right? Because they've just been getting dust. And it was another opportunity for people that have always wanted to see me perform to actually hear, my performance voice. So I thought it'd be really cute to say like, wow, I submitted something for the Grammys.
You have a great performance voice.
Oh, thank you.
I'm a big voice guy.
Oh, really?
Big voice guy. Good clue. Obviously, What you mean?
Why obviously? Because you podcast?
Yeah.
That's not. I would never assume
why?
that.
I'm hearing voices all the time.
I would say audio. I would say audio, but like you're a huge voice person, so you're much more of a voice person over audio dialect.
No, I think I'm an audio person in general, but I think voices specifically. If I say anything, I like voices for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I pay attention to people's voices. I be picking up on certain things, and I secretly mock them too.
Oh, so you've been mocking me?
Not right now. I'm trying to get it down, but it's hard because I don't have a list, and it kind of sound like you have like a slang one, so it's kind of hard.
I don't have a list, but
you don't,
Rodney.
Look, I listened to the album a few times. And it was
well, shoot.
It's only slight though.
Shoot, I don't know. My brother used to have a stunning problem. Sorry, Cameron. He used to have a problem. But now when I think about even when my sister talks, when we are I don't want to say emotional because that's so like used to describe women all the time. But when we are passionate, I would say our tongue does end up just resting behind like the teeth of our tongue.
That's it.
And
That's
I'm just
it.
like, I don't know like why that happens.
It could be half. People have half lisp.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Say lisp.
Lisp.
Ooh.
Lisp.
Ooh.
How do you say it?
That's the test.
How do you say it?
People with a lisp.
How do you say it?
Lisp.
Lisp.
See,
Right. See, I'm not
that was
lazy.
more of a yeah. But I'm Southern. We have lazy tongues. You know. That's how it works.
Okay.
So, but tell me this. In terms of like getting this particular thing done, you say you did this in a matter of you had 2 months to basically get it done.
Yeah.
How long was the actual process? Because you say it was works that you've already written and new works that you kind of gotten. How long did it take you to actually record the thing, though? Because if it was already kind of 75% done in terms of you didn't have to write and sit down and write anything, though.
Right.
How's the process in terms of something that you didn't do before? Because before you just had to, figure out how you want to get printed, where's it going to be available.
Very simple, yeah. Recording was a bit harder because I had to record it on my phone. And I also, had the poems up on my phone.
Yeah.
So it'll be like doing that dual work. So eventually I ended up recording like some on my iPad, some on my phone. And when I did the vocals specifically, I did the vocals like on my phone. I think I found some app where you could like lay over different vocal tracks. But it was fun. I really recorded them all in one night on my phone because I did them like... I was procrastinating and dodging it, and I had an accountability partner. And she's a poet in Ohio. Her name was Tasha, and she was
Shout
like,
out to Tasha.
Right," because she was like, "Did you do it?
You put in a dedication,
right? Did you figure out the title? Did you do it? Did you do it?" And I was like, "You know what? Fuck it. I got some wine. I was like, we're just about to do it tonight. And I was like, we're just about to knock it all out. I literally just want to say that I finished it in time because it had to be submitted on the Grammy timeline by a certain time for it to actually be a part of the 2021 Grammys, which I was kind of just like, okay. But, so that was interesting. And then when I recorded it on my phone, I sent it to this guy to mix and master it because then I had to find the beats. And that was a whole other thing. I never even knew what buying beats actually consisted of. I was like, can I just cash up you and you send me some shit? It's like, give me a Solange beat. And they're like, a Solange beat? And I'm like, yeah. Like, can I have a Solange no name
type beat?
Right. Give me something that's just... like Solange.
You thought that motherfucker went in there like, oh, I got you. Shouldn't take it.
I don't know enough description, but he sent me like massive folders that I was listening to like little beats like throughout the whole time. Yeah. Because those are for the interludes, and I knew I wanted to have interludes because I love interludes on album. I think those are the best thing.
I agree.
And so I was like, okay, this one, and I would play them at the same time, and I would play like somebody's voice recording that I got like from my mom. So I was like, this one sounds good for my mom. Okay, but that was like also really fun. It was fun.
I think I liked the, but I think maybe it's a me thing, just because I am an audio person, so I can like pick up on certain things. I did enjoy the intimateness that happened because of it felt like people were recording themselves, like they didn't record with you in the same spaces, like they recorded with you and sent this over to you. It made it feel even more real
and organic and authentic.
Yeah. And I love, because I think that's happening all over in every form now, even with podcasting. There's so many people who have invested so much money into getting the best equipment, the best cameras, best lights, best setup, best stage and sound set, all those things, for nobody really not care too much about their podcast, because they don't realize like that's not the part that people come for. They want the conversation, so you can just literally be on a fucking couch with one camera and y'all all squeezing y'all ass thigh to thigh,
and laughing and having the best conversation.
So people like to know that people are real when they are consuming the content, because it makes you, I don't know, it makes you feel like you're actually listening to people and not these like machines and not these like other things, these outer worldly things. We want to feel us more than anything. And I liked it. And I feel like it teaches you a lot about you too.
I remember the producer, he said, do you want this voicemail grainy version or do you want me to clean it up? And I was like, no, leave it. I want, because I really love even the interludes on SZA's album, like from her mom. And I love those conversations. She's like, no, I love you, mommy. And I'm like, gee, I would love to have a conversation with my mom and have that featured on my album. And I was like, this is my exact homage like to that.
Yeah.
But it's from my mom, my sister, my brother, and all of like my best friends. Not all of them. Some people didn't make the deadline, but for the most part, everybody in there.
Maybe you make the deluxe.
Literally, some people didn't
And
get
she
that.
worthy again.
Oh my God, that's such a I feel bad because some people didn't make it. And they're like, "Oh, can I sit in there?" I'm like, I love you, but I can't.
Yeah.
Like, it's like some really good people that want to be on there. But yeah, next one, maybe the deluxe. So.
No, you learned. It felt very much like you learned a lot about you from listening to it. In terms of your faith, in terms of your very much being family oriented. Y'all very much the Kardashians stole something from y'all. Y'all got this K thing going.
Okay, yeah, I understand. That's my mom.
Everybody doesn't have K's, do they?
No, everybody.
Everybody has K's. Your older
Except
sister
for my
too.
Kelsey, Cameron, Quinn, and Corey. It's the 4 of us. Yeah, it's so. Cute.
But either one of your parents got K names.
My mom's middle name starts with a K, but my dad's Maurice. It's Maurice and Crystal.
Damn.
Yeah, I think my mom. Again, we just like patterns.
But everybody call her Crystal.
Most people call her Kimmy because her middle name is Kimberly. And so, and my dad everybody called him Maurice or Mo.
So it's CK?
It's CK.
Damn, I thought it was Crystal with a K for a second.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why she. I think she did say for Kelsey, she did always want a girl named Kelsey. And for Cameron...
What a time to be alive where, Kelsey is, Phi. Man, I ain't heard that name.
I feel like names now are so unique now.
Truly.
I still cannot believe we have a North.
Yeah.
West.
It's kind of Phi, though.
North
as a name. I wouldn't have did it if my last name was West, personally.
Yeah, I know that's
But
saying.
North as a name?
You had North
cool
Scott, North Townsend.
Yeah, North Scott, North Townsend, fire. Fire names.
People are so weird with
Fire
aesthetics.
names. But Northwest, Chicago West,
I know.
Saint West, Psalm
I know.
West.
All the names that Kanye is gonna hit you. I'm just like, wow. You said unprecedented. Nobody else like you. That's what you said.
I mean, that's a celebrity thing, though, to make them brand your kids. Even though your kids dead ass might not even want to be in this fucking industry.
Right.
So they really don't have to.
Yeah.
Especially as hard as some of these famous ass people go. Y'all be ultra rich. Your children really don't gotta do shit if they don't choose to. So, but I digress. We back to the Rileys.
Yes.
So I love how you feature your family within this. It felt very much like, you keep them close to your heart, you know what I'm saying? Y'all do a lot of things together because even for the, the visual and the aesthetics. I know y'all went all together to do that too, right?
Yeah, so that actually wasn't even planned. That photo shoot is for a different project that I haven't posted yet. But it just turns out that okay, I needed, and at first I was gonna pay somebody, to just do a whole nother photo shoot. Okay. But I was like, gee, I have photo shoots that I haven't even used really yet. Yeah. Outside just flexing.
Yeah.
So those flexing. Pictures, not really. You just do a photo shoot. You're like, okay, I have content, that I haven't used. I have shit that I haven't used, and so with those pictures, I'm like, okay, these are pretty nice. I can see it. And I played around with a few different pictures. I asked my girlfriend a couple times which one did she like. And I think I also asked my poetry siblings one that they like. And everybody voted for, me on the couch with that little thigh and my braids. And I'm like, okay, I'll go with that one.
Solid. It definitely looked like a cover.
I know.
It definitely looked like a cover. Yeah, all the spacing over your head. The space looked really grand and it blended with you. It was great.
Random Airbnb in New York, man. Yeah,
I fuck with it.
Airbnb, man.
So what is it about that really kind of inspires you to write these days? What's inspiring you now? Because it's so much of the work that you put into this book, or to this album. Yeah. Was pieces from so many years ago and only a handful of new ones. What's inspiring you now to write?
I honestly recently, as in this past weekend, have started signing up for a lot more workshops. I enjoy poetry workshops and just writing workshops in general, with different prompts and stuff. I just recently learned about a nocturne poem in comparison to a abunde, which is night and day poems, and so that type of stuff really intrigues me. So that's been inspiring, because usually I do just write from emotion. Yeah. Something that's very reactionary, and of course throughout these past couple months we've had so much stuff that has happened, like, you know, between George Floyd and you have the anti-Asian hate stuff, and then everything going on in terms of like trans folks. And so like I know I always have something of grief, of like anger to write on that I could channel, but I've been really trying to write more optimistic poems and challenge myself with that. So like workshops have been helping me, and I would say the workshops help. I attended an Afrofuturism workshop that I wrote a really good poem for. And really just allowing myself to just write, like not writing with the intention of creating another piece, but just like free writing. And then from there, like Googling different prompts and like, okay, let's see what inspired me today. Like Jasmine Sullivan's Hotels really inspired me to think more about like my sexual experiences and my womanhood and my femininity and my essence. And so I'm really tapping into what?
Because I don't think I've ever had the opportunity to say it on the podcast in a way that made sense. Of how I felt about that. About how I felt about that album. But
it's intergenerational. My mom cried when she listened to it. My little sister cried when she listened to it. Like I wish she really did get a Grammy for that album.
Me too.
I love you, Jasmine.
Well, I mean, it's still possible, right? The Grammys is postponed.
Well, just because it's postponed for
she was nominated, right?
Yeah, I don't. Oh,
was she?
No, there was something she didn't win for that somebody else won Best R&B Album.
That was probably some AMA type shit or something.
Yes, I think it was the AMAs because she did win a BET award. I think for
sure, a Soul Train award for sure.
Yes, but so like shit like that.
But you know the reason why I say that about I think it was Lemonade for me that taught me how to consume art that wasn't made for me in mind, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And I didn't realize it. I was like, I like this. I don't feel it, but I like it, if that makes sense.
No, you have to be really open-minded for that.
Yeah. But it helped me a lot in terms of just understanding kind of just the process, just imagination, just, you know, executing a particular thing, inspiration, all those different things. So I consume things with that in mind all the time now. So I listen to everything and consume so much different types of content, regardless of any affinity I might have to it or not.
Oh, that's good.
You never know what you would find, you know? And for Hotels, for me, the thing that I think I noticed quickly in terms of why people admired the Ari Lennoxes and the Summer Walkers once they kind of came and started to rise. The thing that I used to tell all of my homegirls was, I was like, they be talking about fucking like directly. They was like, what you mean, right? I was like, they be talking about fucking directly, not this like cutesy like I want him to come over and just hold me and this like just this come and make love to me. No, it's like no, I need some dick.
She does say that.
Break me off. It's very straight to it because I think like nowadays so much of I think male R&B I think already was on that. Has been on that. It's damn near could tone down in certain moments depending on the people. But I feel like for so long it feels like that this daintiness and this pitiness and this damn near like protection of like this presentable sense of sexuality and women was still being shown through music. Yeah. Even though so many women just kind of, took it where they took it. But I also understood, like, I see why so many women are relating to these men talking explicitly about sex in their songs. It's like, yeah, that's their jam. That's their shit, right? Because that's the reality of what they feel about themselves and what they feel about what they do. So I was like, yeah, that's why they win it. And then when Hotels came out, and it was like really kind of like adding the layers and adding the different stories and adding the different perspectives, it was like, oh, this is brilliant.
I think also it's there is a strength in the vulnerability when it comes to talking about sex specifically as like a strong black woman to be able to say like, oh, I want you to break me off, or I want you to bend me over, or even I keep thinking about Ari Lennox's new Apartment song. Like that's that's a joyful him to just say, I got my new apartment, I can do this. It's just so unprecedented. Like, I mean, I do love Summer Walker. Like, I think she's a really, really cool lyricist. But Ari Lennox and Jasmine Sullivan specifically, those two really just seem different for me in terms of R&B that just allow me to be like, oh no, like I do just want some dick, but like I need you to get your shit. And also don't forget to pick up your feelings. Pick Up Your Feelings live still does something to me that no other song will.
Yeah, so. Shout out to Jasmine. Shout out to her. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hell of an evolution as an artist as a whole. For real. Just thinking from like, I need you bad to like pick up your feelings. That's hell of a trajectory.
The Lost one too.
Yeah, man.
Heartbreaking.
Damn near everybody got a good, like, damn near all the Lost ones. Like, songs named after Lost ones.
I literally remember singing the car with my best friend, Guy, and we were just both listening to it, eating, like, a hot dog from Patios. I don't know if you had Patios, but it's a good cash-only spot. And we're just like, what the fuck? We're just eating a hot dog, like, damn! Like, from sitting on it to, like, he put it down, you know, to all of a sudden, like, Lost one, and now we're just talking about Pick Up Your Feelings.
Yeah.
I'm just like... That really is the emotional roller coaster that I feel like everybody experiences, that we don't be honest with ourselves. Like, no, he digged me down, girl. That's it. That's all it is. I can't help it.
Yeah, and I think we need that. We need that, you know, because I think it's real interesting generalization that happens when we just talk about just how we show up in certain spaces and places when that's really not the case. I see it so often. Like, I think I tell men all the time that they have a flawed experience of life because they don't have enough like femme friends. Like if you don't have this other perspective in your life in some way, shape, or form.
That's a larger conversation.
Yeah, it is, but it helps. It helps so much because me and a lot of my best friends, I think we've aided each other in kind of understanding life and so.
I think everybody would benefit from having somebody queer in their life, though.
Hell yeah.
And gender not conforming.
Hell yeah.
Honestly, and talk about imagination, you just be like, wow.
Yeah.
I could really be anything.
Yes. It helps. It helps a lot. It helps a lot. But I think that's you know, it is a larger conversation for sure. More about that later.
Okay.
More about that
what
later.
In your next episode?
Yeah, no, yeah, I definitely got that in my box.
Ooh,
but
period.
But I feel that I wanted to pivot but stay kind of, you know, on terms of like keeping certain artists in certain spaces and places, right? And I think, you know, the art of spoken word has had its heights and its peaks that I think have, in so many ways, passed us, are already in the past in so many ways for a lot of general viewers. Peaking at the point of, you know, where you can see, you know, Def Poetry Jam and all these other things, and seeing poetry within the artworks and the pieces that people create through, you know, other mediums like music videos and movies and television and things like that. Throughout the early 2000s and kind of right before 2010 is when I felt like it was a lot more integrated and shown as this is being a part of overall blackness. This is an aspect of art that people, you know, the medium that people choose. But I feel like now, I don't know, I think it's kind of caricature at this point. I think a lot of people, it depends on who you're speaking to. It depends on who kept up. It depends on who is still tapped into the community, into those spaces, into that collective. And it's sad to me a little bit because I think I attach that to my same feeling of, you know, the lacking of like black intellectualism as it felt like it used to be. But I think it's a romanticized version of what I see in my mind because I don't know exactly what it was like. Yeah. But in my head, I'm like, it felt like certain people were like celebrities, though. It felt like they were really famous people then, you know?
But they weren't.
And, but no, tell me what you think about kind of where the state of kind of, you know, spoken word is as a performing art more than anything.
I think it really has shape-shifted. When you say caricature, I think I felt that only because I think it has shrunk in some places, but also it's still, I don't know if it's even respected, but I know it's not as monetized. Like, I know people are not getting as paid as much as they used to be, and it's not something that people honestly would like to pay for. I've had people, you know, wanting to pay a singer, you know, respectfully, and wanting to pay, you know, a live painter, but when it comes to, you know, me performing poetry, they're like, what, $200? That's so expensive. And it's like, gee, like, but you willing to pay this person like $600? Like, what? Why isn't mine, you know, seen as to that value? But when I do think about, you know, Amanda Gorman, when she performed at the Biden administration,
for the inauguration.
I said Obama. Did I say Obama?
No, you said Biden administration.
No longer drinking hot toddy. Thank you. Amanda Gorman for the Biden administration inauguration.
Yes.
And even the lady, I don't know if you saw her, I think it was at Essence Fest, and she was like, my black is this, my black is that. People were just like reposting it on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I think people still really want to consume it because I do feel as if poetry brilliantly talks about shit that we normally, do not know how to communicate with.
Yeah.
And people are able to consume it similar to like music and just art in general.
Yeah.
It is able to digest complex thoughts or complex,
emotions,
systems, racism, homophobia, and all that shit into a way that you're like, wow, like that shit is hard. We need to do something about it, whatever. But I feel like now it really is like TikTok, biteable, type of shit because that's the way social media has really interrupted the way that we consume things. Where like if you don't attach, if I'm not able to attach my interest to you in 15 seconds or less, then I'm not supporting you. And poets, our shit always be like 5 minutes long. So it's like, damn, how do I make a good poem in 15 seconds or less now? So
niggas
like,
know how to haiku it up.
Right. Literally. And I was gonna say, I don't know if you've heard of that poem, a poet by the name of Rupi Kaur. She had the pages. Right. And I feel like those are some ways it shifted where when I first saw her stuff, I was like, bro, I never thought of actually just posting my poems like online with like a drawing. Like I never thought about that. And I know people say that she did like steal most of her poems for black people from a black woman. I don't know like in terms of death, but I do want to see her at her tour because I think she really has found a capitalist way to make money off of poetry where typically people, they're not picking up poetry books. Like if you ask somebody what their favorite book is, usually someone doesn't say like Maya Angelou. They usually say something intellectual or something that is a bit more nonfiction in comparison to something that is like a short amount of words, so.
I think it is, it's honestly not a good thing to me. Just because it feels
poetry's not a good thing?
No.
Oh.
The fact that this is what the current state of kind of performance of poetry and even poetry as just a written form in certain instances. I think everyone's not looking and seeking these things out as the way they used to.
I don't know why they're not interested.
I don't know why either. Because to me, it's kind of it's a great introduction if you aren't the biggest reader. If you want something that's just kind of straightforward and kind of right to the point, you get these things that are kind of depending on the type of, poetry book you're picking up, but you can get something that feels like, okay, it's contained in maybe a general theme or whatever, but you're getting these feelings, you're getting these thoughts, and it's in a page, it's in 2 pages, and whatever it is, you can easily consume it and keep going.
I love open mics. I think that's also where I get inspiration from, just honestly sitting in the background. I like to blend into the background, and I like just going to seeing other people just perform their art, let it be jazz or let it be something at open mic, and hearing people just say what's on their mind or like what has happened to them, what their story is, or like whatever. And so poetry, you get to see people like really talk about their shit. Yeah. And like, damn, I didn't know you went through something I went through.
But you know what? I think it's because of the urge and the sensation, it's kind of fulfilled in other spaces. Like social media for a lot of people. When you think about what Twitter is, like people just getting things out.
That openness is still available.
But it's like, so I think the sensation or the urge to do something else and like to go and hear other people and share what you feel and express what you feel.
You can tweet it out.
You can just tweet it out. You don't gotta leave your house.
Yeah, so the container seems useless.
Yeah. Even though I think it serves a different purpose. Because I feel like the thing that people want to do the most these days are things you just can't get from, social media. So people rather just party and this, that, and the third until they realize, like, I really don't want to do that. That's just what it feels like I'm supposed to do, But everybody really want to be able to chill. Like, motherfuckers literally go to clubs to go and find couches, to go and find sections and sit the fuck down.
And drink.
You could have did that at the crib.
Right.
But
yes.
I'm just saying, like, I think thinking about just the vibe of being able to be in this space where, it's cool and it's a vibe. We can be around each other. We can get a drink or two. We can drink whatever we're going to drink.
Get cute,
you know what I'm saying? And it be simple. It'd be calm. It'd be casual. Hear different, different forms of art, people playing music, all these different things. Just a variety of things.
Right, and it's not just all poets. You have singers that go up there, too.
We want that. We need that. I love shit like that.
Yeah, personally. I think it honestly, it still exists. I don't feel like it's been, erased. For sure. But I think it is, submerged underneath like the grand concerts, the grand, you know, like pop-up shops, the grand like whatever. And sometimes even at these pop-up shops, these grand concerts, people do have poets come out, or like an intermission of like an open mic or whatever. But it has been like, again, just like kind of not even hidden. It's just underneath all these other things that, especially in a big city like Chicago, has to offer.
Yeah. I get that though. But I feel like, you know, continuously, that's why, you know, I've always been on the artist side, because I think that, you know, artists are still some of the most misunderstood people, but some of the most used at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's this real weird kind of like
tandem
duality happening where it's like you're useless and you're broke and don't make money, you want to suffer the rest of your lives, but it's like, hey, I really need that little paint you did for this iPhone wallpaper,
right?
You know, like it'd be like, what, you know what I'm saying? So it's this real interesting kind of, you know, back and forth, because like I don't have the words to do this thing and we need words for this. I think it's a reason why, you know, they still have that as a particular section within the inauguration and so many other very official things. It's a part of us, you know, in a lot of ways it's a part of us in so many, and it's the only way to describe a beautiful pairing of words. You know, like, damn, it's like poetry.
Yeah.
Type of thing, you know, because it just sounds good together and it just goes and it rhymes.
It's harmony.
Yeah, you know, so, yeah, I don't know. Language and shit like that it deserves to have its, you know, beautiful version of it, instead of it to feel like we're only just sharing opinions all the time. We're only consuming words that are either controversial or like we can't even say these words, or this is what you feel or this is what your idea is, instead of us ever having a moment where words can be utilized to make us feel a myriad of things. Instead, it's either we're fighting and being against each other or debating whatever the fuck we feel about whatever stance I'm on versus yours. Or do you even know the language to even express the thing that really is fucking happening? All those types of things. And I think poetry has a space to aid in all those things. And make it make sense, make it plain, make it simple. It's like, all right, if you didn't understand, like, hey, y'all hate us. Maybe I gotta say it in a certain inflection. Y'all hate us.
I think it's also very grassroots, like very community. But when I think about even what you were describing about, like, you know, how we're two different like words and fighting against each other. I think about the open mic that Charles Preston put on. I don't know if he still puts it on because of the pandemic, but it used to be called like On the Nine, where literally he would occupy space on the corner of 79th in Cottage Grove and just be like, all right, spit. And it would kind of be like a cipher, but like not everybody's a rapper. Cool. I'm not a rapper. People have a conflation with poetry and rap. I don't rap, but I would go ahead and say, you know, my poem, somebody else would spit. Maybe somebody would sing. And it was such like, it was a freeing thing, but I also felt like it was just us. Like that corner was literally like ours. In comparison, when I hosted my own open mic at the Let Us Breathe space, the feeling of community was still there, but within that space, it did feel like it was an intentional space where nobody could say some bullshit. Like, you can't walk in there saying, like, oh, I don't support trans folks. Or you can't walk in there saying, like, yeah, I'm going to call the police. Like, Let Us Breathe literally have these brave space agreements that everybody has to verbally, you know, consent to saying, yeah, this is what you're agreeing to by being in here, by attending this event. So I've personally felt the safest in open mics. And when I have heard, because I have attended some, where somebody would say, you know, call a woman a female, or, you know, say something that is Islamophobic or like some shit like that, you do have to check them, because as artists, it's like, what type of art are you producing that is not benefiting an overall community? Something where you literally are attacking not only marginalized folks, but like folks that art is a form of escapism for them. And what does that say? Like, as a poet, when your shit is something that goes against something like that. So I don't know. That's the thing about. We over your time. I know. I gotta go now, y'all. Okay. You keep checking your watch. It gives me anxiety.
I know. No, I get notifications. That's all that is.
Dang, is she texting you already?
Oh, she got you. I mean, who is she?
Who is she, Rodney? Who is she? The world wants to know.
She is no one. I have no one. Yeah. 2022. I choose me, I guess. Instead of rhyming, I choose you, I guess. I don't know. Anywho,
So you didn't save her number yet. That's what you mean.
That's what it is?
You said she's no one, so you didn't say the number yet.
No one is in, like, no one is there to be a who is she type of situation.
Okay, got it. Heard. Confirmed. Received.
I appreciate that. But the thing that I wanted to ask you last was, because you are someone who not only use your words and, create albums and be, Grammy submitted and all these different things, and bring the fan with you and all these different things,
Yeah.
and represent, go back and get more degrees and get smarter and smarter for all these different things. But you also be out in these streets, you know what I'm saying? One of my favorite pictures of you is with that big ass afro and the visor on that motherfucking bike, flipping off the motherfucking cops and shit. Classic. Go see it. I'm gonna put it right here.
Okay.
But so you are certainly a person who is a very much a activist. I'm not sure if that's what you would call yourself, but yeah. Tell me what about showing up in those two different ways really why you choose to show up in those two different ways? Because I think so many people would be like, oh, you inspire the folks, you get them riled up, you can do enough with just that mic. But you rather be in person too. Show up and be seen. Yeah,
I feel like going back to college days.
Yeah.
While I was still doing my poetry, there was a lot of discrimination that I faced, that other Black students faced.
And not in Dayton.
Right. Not at UD where the word is community, but like from other students. Right?
That's the motto?
Yes, that we are a community.
That's the motto? We are community?
Yeah. That's the first thing I heard when I started.
What in the white tarnation
That's
is
literally
that?
everything I brought up. Like, we're not a community. Like, there are just so many different moments we have to have a conversation.
I don't think any white and predominantly white. Let me not get on my soapbox.
Okay.
No, I don't think any white predominantly.
Ohio.
They shouldn't be using words like brethren, community, togetherness.
It's a Catholic Marianist institution.
See, that's what it is. That makes sense. Because folks in church definitely would be like, we together.
And that's what I'm saying. It wasn't really even the UD institution as a whole. It was mainly the students, because UD was very lots of white affluent rich folks and lots of affluent international students. There was just lots of rich. It was private as hell. And so I'm here, being asked like, oh, you from Chicago? You know somebody who died by a gun? Oh, you from Chicago? Shit. I remember I literally attended this camp and like. This white girl, we were leaving from the pool at night, and she was like, oh my gosh, like I can't see Kwyn. And I'm literally like walking toward her. Rodney, I want to tell you, I cried that night, and I'm just like, Mom, like,
see,
is this how racist people are in Ohio? I kept thinking it was like a southern thing, no offense, but I kept thinking like,
Ohio when I thought about racism, Midwest?
I know, but I'm like, I kept thinking that type of covert racism was something I experienced, like, more so in the South. Yeah. And so that anger made me bold enough to say like, yeah, no. So I started writing for the newspaper, and when people were reading the newspapers, I was like, yeah, we're gonna do a die-in, on behalf of, Eric Garner, John Crawford, he died not that far from the Beaver Creek Walmart that we used to go to. Mm-hmm. And it just seemed like white students, again, were blatantly choosing not to talk about it. And I was like,
that's a suburb of Dayton, right?
Yes. Yeah, okay. And I was like, y'all can't choose not to talk about this when Sandra Bland, like, that could have been me, and so easily. I almost felt like I was protesting like while I was doing my work, but I found a different level of fulfillment in both, where like in my poem, I do feel like I'm doing something, but I feel like with protesting, I feel like I'm intentionally like serving the community, which is something different. It's almost like when you do like volunteerism, and it's like, oh yeah, I can pick up this can, but it's like, okay, did you actually make a meal for somebody and give it to them? Like, did you put labor into that? And because poetry feels so easy to me, it didn't really feel like laborious to actually organize, to write a poem in comparison to actually organize a protest and like figure out who was going to do what. Is this a green action? This is a red action? So getting involved with BYP 100, Let Us Breathe, and seeing other artists do this, like Christiana is a playwright, Damon is a whole, rapper as well, and I'm like, oh, okay, you can really be both, and so I want to be both.
I feel that. And she walks to the protest.
Okay, not and she walks to the protest.
No, I was waiting on that. I was like, yeah, I'm going to say that. I really like that. Mm-hmm. And I think it's interesting how, college is certainly like a special time to kind of ignite so many different, young black people.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, I don't know, it's something about being fucking like in your between 18 and 21 where you just like, I know what being grown is.
You're on your own.
The world is fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it. You can't tell me different. Depending on what school you go to and how different it is from where you're from. I'm seeing the world different. I need to do something. I need to say something. I need to make sure that it's better than what it is, because I'm seeing the things. Like, nobody didn't do nothing about this. Like, have y'all heard, like, they treating black people wrong?
Right.
Like,
and
what's going on? Like,
I hate the type of person that complains about something and just doesn't actually try. I hate that type of person.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, like, you're literally, like, wasting breath. If you don't see it, create it. If you want it, go get it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, nobody else is doing shit, fine. I'll go do shit.
Yeah.
And that's when, like, literally other people, like, followed, and it was like, oh, now I have a team of people, and it's like, oh, okay, well, shit, this is called organizing. And I'm like, great, cool, let's fuck some shit up.
Yeah, right. It's crazy because I feel like I never would put myself in the same spaces as people who I feel like have really, really, really got some organizing doing. But I definitely had my little dabbling, you know what I'm saying? My little dabble when I was in college but it was a very, very niche thing that I was doing though. Because it was just this organization that was, all that was literally supposed to be just a space for male initiative, just for men to get up and do things and to do what we felt like best served the community that we lived in. So, people are getting robbed. Okay, so y'all need a buddy, need some type of system. The streets of this part of the neighborhood, of this part of campus is fucked up. Why don't we clean this shit up? Things like that. And I think the joy that comes from knowing that people came out here out of their own desire is certainly a powerful place to stand in and be a part of, because you at that point where you all are there doing the work, it really just feels like, okay, we just getting shit done. And it feels like for a moment like, okay, the world can get better, because it's like all these people aren't getting anything other than what they are trying to gain from this action. You don't get anything else other than this. And if anything, depending on the circumstance, you might be losing a lot from coming out here.
Yes.
It's a powerful experience. And I think it's something that everybody should contribute to in some way, shape, or form, because I loved how here, especially in 2020, how a lot of people found a way to, figure shit out. I think 2020, the reason why I think it really had the impact it did from an activism standpoint is because it felt like for the first time, people realized where their strengths were and how that can contribute. Because I've seen so much more, so many more resources being shared a lot earlier. It wasn't like we're 3 weeks into consistent protest every damn day and no one knows how to get arrested and what to do and how to go through these particular things if these things are to happen. And it felt like early on, first few days, it was like, hey, I'm a lawyer. Hey, if you need this, here's my number. Hey, we're a batch of lawyers. If y'all need this, call us. Here's this thing. And just resources on resources on resources. People just hitting me up like, hey, if you want to donate to this, you want to donate to that. I'm like, I'll fuck with this. This is a vibe. You know what I'm saying? This is,
aid,
you know what I'm saying? This is definitely giving like Montgomery type shit. Like this is giving like something is happening and something needs to get done.
Yeah.
Because I think that was what made shit different about 60 fucking years ago. Or damn, almost 70 years ago now that I think about it. I can't even do the math in my head. Damn.
I know Asha Ransby. She's a really, really great, brilliant organizer, like in the city of Chicago. The way she explained to me is that when it comes to not just interest in social movement work, but just like the waves of unrest, it's always going to be something that is like elevated then decrease, elevated and decrease. Yeah. That's just because of who we are as a people. Like we don't live these straight linear type of lives. Like things go up and they go down. Yeah. And I feel like from an organized point of view, like 2020 wasn't really like awakening of like my strengths. I think it was the perfect moment because everybody was literally at their crib and mass people from college students to teachers to lawyers had the time now and the focus to actually like give a damn because they didn't have to worry about, their work.
Yeah.
Everybody literally was just like at the crib, and it's like, wow, I see this video of a man being unjustly murdered. I'm about to go outside and do something. On top of everything else, we were experiencing at the moment. And I think even when you think about Trayvon Martin, right? Like, for me, that was my moment where I really feel like my eyes were rinsed. And I was like, oh, respectability politics are bullshit. Like, you can't tell me if I do this, I won't get killed, because there's so many contradicting examples of people being killed for ludicrous reasons, right? And so when George Floyd happened, it was like, oh, actually, we can kind of contain this anger in a way that is either serves as a catalyst for mutual aid, that serves as a catalyst to get more members for this, serves as a catalyst to talk about, abolition and like transformative justice and like all that type of shit. Because over that summer, there were so many different education workshops. There were so many like popular education training. There were so many like demilitarizing, like a lot of people. I joined this, there's this organization in New York called People's Forum, and they've had, this past summer, they had a revolutionary summer school where we learned about Marxism, communism, socialism, and they've been putting on these free classes like ever since then, virtually. And I'm like, gee, that's the
shit. That's the shit we need.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't think that would have came out of, I don't think that would have actually existed if we weren't in a pandemic right now.
Yeah, because people had time.
And people can see the inequities blatantly. It's like, oh, why do I have a mask and they don't? Why do I get to work from home and they still have to go to work? Why am I, comfortably warm and toasty while clearly like those who are unhoused, like, don't have any PPE, they still don't have anything. Like, it's really blatantly in your face. Yeah. Where as much as you want to close it off and like continue on with your day, that you are able to stop the wipers of your eyes and be like, damn, Chicago's fucked up. Chicago's gentrified. Damn. Yeah. CPD got how much money?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
So
that's very true. That's so true. I think the biggest thing was learning that another big thing about that was so many people who thought their jobs and careers were so safe, and learning that they weren't essential. Like hella, just talking about language again, essential,
No,
and,
that term.
And that being something that is
on the front line.
Yeah. To be something that's so important we can't live without you, but you also are probably, lowest paid motherfuckers we ever seen.
Literally exploited.
Yeah. But we can't live without you. We need you to go to work.
Capitalism.
We need you to go to work. We know you're 14. Go to work. Right. You work at I thought you work at Walmart and Burger King.
I literally was thinking of like all the bus drivers. Yeah. All of CTA folks. All the teachers.
And them a lot of aunties and uncles. A lot of grandmas and grandmas. They definitely don't need to be on there. They got a bad knee and shit.
Probably extended the hours and everything. It was
they did.
Wild time.
It's a wild time, but I'm glad we out of it. But no, I said that was the last thing I wanted to ask you. The last thing I really wanted to ask you was, what's next? What's next? And she, we can infer that. And she, you already got it.
Ooh. Okay, well, I guess I should confirm that I'm going to do this. Hold me accountable to do it.
Okay.
I'm going to do a one-woman show.
Hey!
It's going to be like a night of...
I like this evolution. We're going from the books to the album to like, you can see me in the things.
So that's why I'm going. I want to go see Ruby Carr in concert. Okay. And I want to see some more one-woman poetry. Not even poetry. Theatrical plays. And my brother's a playwright too, so I'm going to be working on something. I don't know where I want to do it, but... A good friend of mine told me that like I should, and at first I've been so hesitant because I'm like, oh, like I'm not even home. But now that I'll be graduating, I'm like, oh yeah, we can go ahead and do this because now I'm back home. Come May 22. So
okay, I'm gonna give you my opinions on other things you should do pertaining that off mic.
Okay,
but yes,
yes,
I love that. Ooh, that feels good. That feels great. Good. That feels good, and that feels like the natural progression too.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Because I feel like you can. Now that you show that these are the mediums that you don't mind performing within, you can kind of just continue to do those things. All it takes is just doing it that one time. Now these are the things that you do. So you can keep putting albums out. You can keep putting books out. You can keep publishing all these various ways. But once you start doing other things and other things and other things, it's like, oh, damn. She does a lot.
I do a lot.
And she does a lot. No, I'm a real specific type of corn. You know what I'm saying? I'm a specific type of corny. But no. Please. Oh, hold on. Because I'm acting like I ain't never been here before. Hold up. Let me get my thing together. So, right now, when you hear this, you're going to hear the smooth sounds of D'Angelo behind my voice, right?
Okay.
And yours, too.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, this is my Send It On portion of the episode. My Send It On segment is essentially my call to action. And what I would like for you to do is to just let everybody know how they can support you now, how they can support whatever's to come, how they can support whatever is already there, how can they keep up with you, support a cause that you possibly are working with right now, any of the things and all the things. Let us know.
Wow. A way that you can support me, I would say right now, I have been really more so into mutual aid. So if you really just type in the hashtag mutual aid, either on your Twitter, your Instagram, your Facebook, give somebody a little $5, let them get, a little meal, give somebody $10, or just continue to check in, with folks, let them be unhoused, queer, trans, folks that need reassignment surgery, something at first that really would mean a lot to me, because we need help during this multiple pandemic era. You can follow me on social media if you want to see my face, at Quyinology.
Go see my face, y'all.
If you want to see my poetry and stuff, I'm also on Twitter and TikTok. I only did after Twitter because I don't really like
You
Twitter.
on TikTok?
I am on TikTok now.
I'm about to go follow you on TikTok.
And I do have a YouTube page called Kwyn Townsend Riley, so that's where I post my poetry videos. And my website is Quyinology.com. And if you want to reach out to me, you can do poet at Quyinology.com if you want to learn more. And be safe.
I like that. It sounds good. I can't wait for you to hear this.
Okay.
This sounds so good. If you don't know, you should know, because that's a great way to just go ahead and wrap this thing on up. I appreciate you for coming on, first inaugural guest of 2022.
It's
and I think
honor.
you set the pace just right, you know what I'm saying? You really came in here and busted my chops in so many ways, and I appreciate that. That's knocking off the rush. You feel me? I needed that. But I really do appreciate you. You are certainly your voice is certainly something that's appreciated and that's needed. And if I learned anything about this time that we got out of, I ain't even got out of. We're still living in the pandemic, but the particular civil unrest, what I learned was that people really do cherish folks who can still speak, who can still find the words to say anything. Yeah. I didn't realize how valuable that was until that time. Just truly how many more people were, highlighted and uplifted because they just had the words to explain what the fuck was going on or what the fuck is happening. Yeah. Because everybody else was just so petrified. Because it's like, shit, should I go out there? Should I do this? Should I go get a TV? Should I stay in the house? I'm scared. Shit, should I go back home and be with my mama? Are they breaking into the shit? Or damn, they on such and such street. They on this and that. What are they doing? Is it us? Is it even us that's doing some of the things? Man. So it's this real craziness that's occurred. But I think it all happens for a reason, It does. And it definitely feels like I said, damn, 2 years ago now, when you delete apps in the phone, how shit be shaking up. Feels like everything's just still in the shake. Yeah. So we really have to be diligent in making sure the right things get deleted in the system, Yes. And I appreciate you because you're definitely a big part of that,
Oh,
and I think we need individuals who are making themselves seen, but also letting their words be heard too. Yeah, we need that.
And we need you too.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But if you don't know, you should know. You can follow the Simply King podcast everywhere podcasts are available, especially on YouTube. Make sure that if you are hearing only the audio version of this, make sure you go and subscribe on YouTube. Oh, should I? Yeah, I'm gonna say that because I haven't chosen a date, so I'm gonna just say that for post. I haven't chosen a date of when this particular episode will come out or not. If it's going to be the first or the second week. Anywho, Patreon dropping soon. I'm going to say at the end of this month, whenever you're hearing this. Patreon dropping this soon. I'm still trying to figure out how I want it to be because people have given me so many suggestions. Some too inappropriate for my taste.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because as soon as you start talking about exclusive content, like we live in a hell of a world. You can't even say exclusive no more, and people not think you pulling your dick out these days. This is weird. We live in a weird place.
I support sex workers.
No. That's okay. Why are you assuming that? That's what I'm saying when I say exclusive content. But I digress. Follow me everywhere at Kings_Memoirs. Follow me everywhere, TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and all those different spaces and places. And stay tuned. More and more coming your way this year. Can't wait for y'all to see all the things I got going the fuck on. All right? This has been the Soulfully Conscious Podcast for humans, simply being humans. I've been Rodney Perry, and she has been Kwyn Townsend Riley.
Wow, thank you.
And this has been Simply King. Peace.
Bye.